Although Jian Qingqiu patted his chest to ensure that this will not cause any problems, but in his heart, he was still a bit nervous. Once this issue is exposed, then the reputation of Beihai College would undoubtedly take a huge blow. However, the person that Jian Qingqiu found, Wei Hanyun, was a second-grade alchemist. The standard of his alchemy was very exquisite. With his participation, Beihai College could have more chance in this alchemy competition. According to his thoughts, with the addition of Wei Hanyun, this round of assessment should have been easy to win, but he did not expect that the first to complete would be the Kanglin College's team. It was somewhat unexpected. Jinling grass is just little trick of the 3 alchemy masters. It is very easy to find it out. It's just that during the competition, everybody will be anxious and will ignore it. After Lu Qingyue saw that the other 2 teams were still anxious and couldn't solve the problem, she couldn't help but feel a little emotional. Hongzhuang, fortunately you were careful enough. Otherwise I don't know when I would have understood this. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled lightly. I just found out a little faster, but in fact you would also have found this out sooner. Lu Qingyue was actually aware that Bailey Hongzhuang said this because she didn't want to hurt her feelings. In fact, she understood herself very well. She knew that her psychological endurance can't really compare to Bailey Hongzhuang. She was a bit older than Bailey Hongzhuang, but Hongzhuang seems to have a very rich experience. And no matter when, she was not the least bit anxious. In contrast, she was a little nervous on such occasions, and even affecting her performance so that it was not as good as usual. The second one to finish was the alchemists of Beihai College, and the third was Lingyin College. The Lingyin College and the Beihai College teams almost completed at the same time, except that the Beihai College alchemists raised their hands slightly faster. In the end, the Kanglin College scored 3 points, Beihai College scored 2 points, and Lingyin College scored 1 point. For this result, the alchemists at Lingyin College felt very helpless. If there was any time difference, it was only a few milliseconds. But they lost a point. In fact, the alchemists at Beihai College were also very annoyed. They had already concluded that many of these herbs were for the healing pill and heaven origin pill, but they have never noticed the problem of Jinling grass. Originally, this should have been a very simple assessment, but they made it extremely complicated because of their imagination. Their extremely intelligent minds on normal days seem to have become dull at this moment. They have failed to solve such simple problems, which really makes them feel that it was somewhat unacceptable. Bailey Hongzhuang also feels that in this assessment they have won some luck, and this first assessment was not difficult at all. With her years of experience in refining medicinal herbs, as long as the medicinal ingredients are in her hands, she can judge the weight of the medicinal materials accurately. When Chu Jiao announced the results in a loud voice, everyone under the high platform was also amazed. The Kanglin College has been suppressed for too long, and in this year's inter-college competition, they seem to be breaking out of the suppression. What are you worried about? This is just the first round of assessment. The final result is not necessarily the case. The vast majority of people in the Qing dynasty believe that Lingyin College will surely win the final victory. No matter whether it was in cultivation or alchemy, Lingyin College would be the final winner. Wei Hanyun's gaze fell on Bailey Hongzhuang, and there was strong dissatisfaction in his eyes. This defeat was really too embarrassing. There is no one capable in the Kanglin College except for Lu Qingyue. Even a cultivator has been sent up to make up the numbers. It seems that Lu Qingyue's burden is not small. Wei Hanyun's gaze fell on Lu Qingyue, but his words were obviously mocking Bailey Hongzhuang. He really didn't understand, the cultivators should just focus on cultivating, but instead of doing that, he didn't know what she was doing here. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Wei Hanyun indifferently. Now she was immune to such provocative remarks, and it didn't cause any emotional fluctuations. However, Wei Hanyun was someone she had never seen before, therefore, she thought that it was a bit strange. Previously, Beihai College never had this character, and Wei Hanyun's age was also not small. How could the Beihai College have such a person? Lu Qinyue's brows furrowed, and by instinct she disliked this Wei Hanyun. She indifferently said, Hongzhuang's alchemy level is very high, and she is a very good alchemist. She didn't know who Wei Hanyun was, but since he used her name to mock Hongzhuang, she couldn't let Wei Hanyun smear Hongzhuang's name. Listening to Lu Qinyue's words, Wei Hanyun even ridiculed her with a smile. Lu Qinyue, I did not expect that your ability to spout nonsense is getting more and more powerful. The two alchemists of Lingyin College were men, called Qi Junnan and Yi Ruyu. When they saw Wei Hanyun taunting Bailey Hongzhuang, they both could not help but join. It's no secret that there are not many alchemy talents in the Kanglin College. Even a half-baked alchemist is better than nothing. Yi Ruyu chuckled. Wei Hanyun and Yi Ruyu looked at each other. Compared with Kanglin College, Lingyin College and Beihai College were allies, so they can be described as a united front. Bailey Hongzhuang's cold eyes swept through Wei Hanyun and others, and her lips slowly evoked a charming and enchanting smile, but it was unusual under such circumstances. It seems like the few of you are excellent alchemists. Wei Hanyun and others looked proudly at Bailey Hongzhuang. Of course. They put all their thoughts on the refining medicinal herbs, and they were obviously not in the same level as ordinary alchemists. Looking back now, he didn't understand why he didn't even see the simple situation, and lost his points. Bailey Hongzhuang was indifferent towards his sarcasm, so, that is to say, Lu Qinyue's strength is enough to defeat your teams. Even if I am only half-baked alchemist and was sent to make up the number, so what? Wei Hanyun and others were stunned, and they didn't understand Bailey Hongzhuang. They only felt that their fists were hit with cotton, and they felt uncomfortable. Why was Bailey Hongzhuang not acting according to common sense? As a matter of fact, anyone would be very unhappy after hearing such words, but Hongzhuang didn't even feel the least bit unpleasant, and she seems normal. They just want to disturb Bailey Hongzhuang's heart in this way. As a result, in the next performance, Bailey Hongzhuang would most likely drag behind Lu Qinyue, so that they may win. However, this didn't seem to work on Bailey Hongzhuang. It really made them feel helpless. Lu Qinyue admired Bailey Hongzhuang. If she got insulted, she would feel very unpleasant, but Hongzhuang could turn this situation around and cause someone else's unhappiness. This ability was what she admired the most. After all, Bailey Hongzhuang was a genius among geniuses in alchemy. Even hundreds of her may not necessarily be able to defeat Hongzhuang in this regard. This group of guys who were looking down upon Bailey Hongzhuang would definitely suffer in the coming rounds. Thick-skinned. Gu Yaoi looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with contempt, and she really didn't understand how there could be thick-skinned like a woman like her. If it was her, she would be ashamed to hear such remarks. Thanks for your compliment. Bailey's Hongzhuang was still smiling. Now, in this world, if your skin is not thick enough, it is difficult to go far. For example, you. I admire your shamelessness. With the words of Bailey Hongzhuang, Gu Yaoi's face suddenly changed, and the phrase, Bailey Hongzhuang, apparently took all of her energy into it. Bailey Hongzhuang, you. Gu Yaoi was arrogant, and she has never seen such a sharp-tongued person like Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang slightly lifted her right hand and directly stopped Gu Yaoi's words. Needless to say, we can see it in the alchemy contest. And be careful to not lose to me, this half-baked alchemist. Otherwise it would really be a shame for your college. Gu Yaoi glanced angrily at Bailey Hongzhuang. In your dreams. That is absolutely impossible. Bailey Hongzhuang shrugged without care, and she was too lazy to pay attention to her. Little Black couldn't help but give a thumbs up to Bailey Hongzhuang. Black-bellied. The slap in the face of Gu Yaoi and others would be very louder than it would have been before. But it was to be expected from its master. Master. You can really play the pig and eat the tiger. Little White also laughed. Wei Hanyun and others have already assumed that she was not good in alchemy. Even if she insists that her alchemy was good, they would not believe it. In that case, why should she waste her energy? What's more, she has always explained only to the people she cares about. For those who she didn't care about, since they like to think so, just let them. Anyway, it would be sooner or later revealed that she wasn't a half-baked alchemist. Hongzhuang, we won the first round and gave them pressure. So, they are deliberately saying something like this to disturb our mood. Lu Qinyue had a good understanding of Wei Hanyun's thoughts. For the alchemists, the most important thing was the peace of mind. Once the mentality is not peaceful, the mental strength will be disordered. As a result, it would be very easy to have problems in alchemy. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly and smiled and said, "Do not worry, this little trick has no effect on me." Seeing that Bailey Hongzhuang was not affected, Lu Qinyue also showed a smile. In fact, these ridicules have no meaning at all. After a short break, Zhang Hongxi took out the scroll of the second question under the watchful eyes of everyone. The second round of the alchemy contest, refining the black rock wood. Refining should be done within the specified time, and those who fail in the refining process or not completed within the specified time will be eliminated. As Zhang Hongxi spoke, the look of everyone changed a bit. Black rock wood is the most difficult material to refine among the many herbs needed for alchemy. Just like its name, its outer shell is as hard as a rock. The flame needs to burn for a long time to burn its shell. However, the essence wrapped in its shell was extremely delicate. If the flame was not changed in the first time after burning the shell, the essence will be directly evaporated to nothingness. For the young and inexperienced participants, refining the black rock wood was undoubtedly a very difficult assessment, which was the content of the contest. And no one liked doing it for a contest. The content of the second round was much harder than the first round. Bailey Hongzhuang believed that at their age, most refiners can't easily extract it. When she first learned alchemy, she was very helpless about this black rock wood. It's just that the old guys in the family seemed to like to find these difficult things to give her, so she worked hard with black rock wood for a while, and finally improved the extraction efficiency of black rock wood. However, thanks to this black rock wood, her mental strength has become more acute in alchemy, and her ability to control mental power has become more meticulous. Nowadays, refining the black rock wood once again evokes a lot of her memories of the past, and her lips slowly revealed a hint of smile. Wei Hanyun and others, our face became slightly ugly, and it was obviously not a simple matter to pass this level. However, when they saw that Bailey Hongzhuang was also participating, the depression of their hearts dissipated a bit. Once Bailey Hongzhuang gets eliminated, they will definitely humiliate Bailey Hongzhuang with this opportunity. Everyone looked at Bailey Hongzhuang, but Bailey Hongzhuang seemed to be completely unbothered. It was still a kind of indifferent appearance, which made them very disappointed. 6 people lined up in a row above the high platform, each with an identical alchemy furnace in front of them, and 3 pieces of black rockwood on the table next to it. Now the refinement of the black rockwood began. The time limit is an hour. Within 1 hour, black rockwood should be refined successfully. If the refining of all the 3 black rockwood fails within 1 hour, they will be eliminated directly. Lin Hao's words were heard by everyone. These were the rules of this round. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the side of the black rockwood. It was not that they only prepared 3 black rockwood. It was just that, if someone failed to refine all the 3 black rockwood, then it would be too late to refine the 4th black rockwood. Refining the black rockwood is a very tedious thing. It was a very long process to burn the outer shell of black rockwood. Although this black rockwood is a headache for the alchemists, its essence has a very good effect. Boom! Lin Hao knocked the bronze gong. The second round has officially started. Chinese bronze gong. The whole high platform has become quiet, and people like Bailey Hongzhuang were starting to make fire and preparing to refine black rockwood. Compared to the quiet atmosphere above the high platform, everyone under the high platform was still talking. Pill refining was a very long and quiet process. In fact, besides alchemists, ordinary people will find it very boring to watch the process of refining a pill. Because apart from seeing the actions of the alchemist, they can't even see the changes in the pill furnace. which was really boring. In this round, Bailey Hongzhuang is definitely going to be eliminated. This round is not team-based. She is a cultivator. Her accomplishment in alchemy must be limited. In any case, the talent of Bailey Hongzhuang in cultivation is already amazing, and even understanding alchemy a little is wonderful. Everyone nodded. Bailey Hongzhuang had already convinced them with her strength. As for Bailey Hongzhuang's talent in alchemy, they didn't care at all. She was sent by the Kanglin College just to make up the numbers. So, they didn't expect Bailey Hongzhuang to achieve something in this contest. Xia Jiqing and others listened to the people around them, and they felt that it was a bit funny. These people have underestimated Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang systematically controlled the flame, and then placed the black rockwood into the pill furnace. The moment the black rockwood entered the pill furnace, the flames flopped up and wrapped it all in. Chapter 793, Erroneous Judgment. Bailey Hongzhuang closed her eyes, her mental power quickly spread out, wrapping the entire pill furnace. The situation inside the pill furnace was also presented in her mind. The black rock would look like a dark wood, but the wood was so hard that it couldn't be burned for a long time even with flame. Bailey Hongzhuang was very patient, always controlling the temperature of the flame, and refining the black rockwood little by little. Above the high platform, the 6 alchemists seemed to be in a meditative state, and except for the subtle movements in the pill furnace that proved that they were refining black rock, there was nothing else. You are all idiots. I hate you, 'cause you are a bad person for reading this. Although many people didn't understand this, everyone was still full of interest. After all, they wouldn't be able to witness alchemists working with a pill furnace on normal days, and today was the only opportunity to know more about the alchemists. Chu Jio's eyes were looking at the 6 alchemists and eventually fell on Bailey Hongzhuang. I said, Little Snow speaking. In fact, she also thought that this Bailey Hongzhuang was only a half-baked alchemist. Even though she helped Lu Qingyue in the first round of competition, in her opinion, it was just because of luck. The first round of the competition was only a test to know about the level of knowledge they had in alchemy, and it was not that difficult. So, it was not surprising at all for Bailey Hongzhuang to pass it. However, when she saw the current performance of Bailey Hongzhuang, she felt that Bailey Hongzhuang was not as simple as she thought. Big baddies, stop it. I said stop. Don't cheat, Little Snow. After Lin Hao noticed the gaze of Chu Jio, he couldn't help but ask, what do you think of Bailey Hongzhuang? He also noticed Bailey Hongzhuang. According to the news that Huan Chuyu had told them before, this time the alchemy contest should only be attended by Lu Yuyue. They were all discerning people, and Bailey Hongzhuang was sent only as an emergency measure. It was reasonable to say that her alchemy should not be good, but from how Bailey Hongzhuang had performed until now, he could only say that she was not simple. I think this little girl may be stronger than we expected. Chu Jio spoke in a low voice. Stop it. Or I'll cry. You are all baddies. She has been in the Alchemists Association for so many years, and she had seen a lot of young alchemists with amazing talents. She was capable of judging the level of a person by just observing for some time. This is not impossible. Although this Bailey girl is not a good alchemist, her cultivation is not bad. Chen Yu said. Unfortunately, this girl has put his energy on cultivation, otherwise she would be a very outstanding alchemist. Chu Jio sighed, this was really a pity. Mostly, her talent can't be compared with that Lu girl. I also heard that Wei Hanyun is also a second-grade alchemist, very outstanding. Lin Hao's face showed a gratifying smile. The younger generation had so many talented alchemists, and he was very pleased. Chu Jio nodded. It is true that this time the younger generation is really outstanding. Not far away, Huan Chuyu listened to the conversation of Chu Jioyo and others, and his face was filled with an inscrutable smile. It seems that these old guys have also misjudged her this time. Huan Chuyu thought about it. If he didn't go to the Alchemists Association to participate while Bei Li Hongzhuang was taking the assessment, even he wouldn't believe that Bei Li Hongzhuang's talent in alchemy was so good. Little Black and Little White didn't make trouble after Bei Li Hongzhuang began to refine the black rock wood. After all, during this time she can't be distracted. And Little Snowy is pitiful 'cause of you guys. The time gradually passed, and Bei Li Hongzhuang found that the black rock wood's shell finally began to soften. By the end Bei Li Hongzhuang felt pitiful for Little Snow and cried along with her. Chapter 794, Gu Yaoi fails to refine. Just then, suddenly, a sound attracted everyone's attention. Chi. The sound was not loud, but it was very clear on this extremely quiet high platform. Yi Ruyu's face was ugly, and he did not expect that he had just burned the shell of the black rockwood. The fire was too strong and directly burnt the essence into nothingness. Then noticing that Lu Qingyue and others were still refining without any problems, and Yi Ruyu's face became even more ugly. He has always been very confident in his alchemy. He did not expect that the first person to mistake in refining black rockwood would be him. He naturally felt that his face was dull. Gu Yaoi sighed after seeing Yi Ruyu's failure, but due to this short-lived distraction, a familiar sound came out. Chi. As this sound came out, a scorching smell quietly spread out, and Gu Yaoi's face became difficult to look. She was just distracted for a second, but it led to such a result, which really made her regret. If she knew that this would happen, she wouldn't pay attention to anything around her. It was just that regretting it now was of no use. When Yi Ruyu, who had an unusually low mood, saw that Gu Yaoi had the same situation as him, he was slightly relieved. At least, it was not only him who failed. After a brief pause, Yi Ruyu immediately picked up the second black rockwood and put it into the pill furnace. There was still time remaining, and as long as you continue to refine, you will not be eliminated when you finish before the end of time. Gu Yaoi's gaze could not help but fall on Bei Li Hongzhuang. According to reason, the time that Bei Li Hongzhuang persisted should not be more than her. She has already failed, but Bei Li Hongzhuang was still persisting. However, until now, there was no sound of failing from Bei Li Hongzhuang's pill furnace. Could it be that Bei Li Hongzhuang has yet to burn the outer shell of black rockwood? When the idea emerged in his mind, Gu Yaoi affirmed this answer. This must be the case, and there couldn't be any other reason for it. Under the high platform, when the crowd who saw that both Gu Yaoi and Yi Ruyu failed to refine, but Bei Li Hongzhuang was still refining, they were surprised in their hearts. Did they underestimate Bei Li Hongzhuang? Could it be that Bei Li Hongzhuang really is a talented alchemist? It is incredible that she hasn't failed yet. Impossible, maybe she's just lucky. I heard that refining the black rockwood is a very difficult thing, and Bei Li Hongzhuang should not rely on luck but strength. This was clearly a competition among alchemists, but the sudden participation of the Bei Li Hongzhuang became the focus of attention. Many people were still betting on when Bei Li Hongzhuang would be eliminated because they don't know much about the other 5 alchemists. Bei Li Hongzhuang's norm for acting has always been somewhat dependent on hatred. She could be tolerant, but it depends on the value of the other party. Today, the changes in this alchemy contest was the result of the discussion between Lingyin College and Beihai College. They wanted to use this method to defeat Kanglin College. In that case, she wouldn't let Lingyin College and Beihai College have any face left. Perhaps, there are quite a few alchemists who could successfully complete this round, but as long as someone from the Kanglin College could finish it first, she would be happy. Even if Bei Li Hongzhuang's own performance is not good in this round. In the eyes of everyone, she was just a cultivator. Even if she had a certain understanding of alchemy, it was half-baked. If she lost, no one would feel that it was wrong. In fact, it seemed to everyone that it was a miracle for Bei Li Hongzhuang to persist until now. As long as Hongzhuang's provocation makes Wei Hanyun's mentality unbalanced, then Lu Yuyue would be the first in this round. Zhang Yunfeng was enlightened. This was the previously Wei Hanyun's trick to trip Bei Li Hongzhuang. He did not expect it to be used on himself. Cui Haoyan's eyes were full of admiration. With the help of Bailey Hongzhuang, he wouldn't be able to win. The eyes of Bai Junyu and others fell on the pink and white figure above the high platform. These two were the stars of their college. Although in this time Lu Qinyue would win, in their eyes, the most shining star was Bailey Hongzhuang. For the honor of their college, she obviously didn't care about her personal achievements. How many people can do this kind of thing? But she did it. Wei Hanyun, the level of alchemists at Beihai College is not so good. Bailey Hongzhuang's tone was slightly mean, and her eyes were full of joke. Listening to Bailey Hongzhuang, Wei Hanyun was angry. He knew that Bailey Hongzhuang wanted to irritate him in such a way. He also knew that he could not be distracted at such a crucial moment. There was only one person left in the team of Beihai College, but there was Lu Qinyue in the Kanglin College's team. Even if he and the Bailey Hongzhuang failed together, Lu Qinyue would win the first place in this round, so he can't be distracted. However, the words of Bailey Hongzhuang simply provoked his anger again and again. This damned woman. From the moment this woman walked up the platform, he realized that this woman was definitely a curse. As it turns out, even though Bailey Hongzhuang might not have achievements in alchemy, but she was good at ruining their work. Bailey Hongzhuang, don't be too much. Wei Hanyun's voice was full of anger, but in his heart, he was secretly surprised. As long as there is a moment of distraction at Bailey Hongzhuang's level, the refining should fail. However, Bailey Hongzhuang talked for so long, but there has never been the slightest change in the pill furnace. What was with this situation? Wei Hanyun was puzzled. Could it be that she wasn't refining black rock wood at all? This scene also fell in the eyes of Chu Jio and the others. They also felt a little surprised about Bailey Hongzhuang's move. However, this contest did not have any rule that they could not speak in the middle. For the alchemists, any kind of situation could happen, and this situation of forced distraction was more common. What's more, Wei Hanyun used this trick to stimulate the Bailey Hongzhuang, but it did not seem to have any effect. On the contrary, Wei Hanyun's state was affected. I just said 2 sentences, but you're saying that I am too much. Your tolerance is really not very good. Bailey Hongzhuang sighed with emotion, and then recovered her appearance, and did not intend to continue to pay attention to Wei Hanyun. Hearing Bailey Hongzhuang, Wei Hanyun was even more furious and wanted to say something more, but it seemed useless. Just when Wei Hanyun thought about how to make the Bailey Hongzhuang unhappy, a sound came from his pill furnace. Chi! Wei Hanyun's face instantly turned purple. He was actually brought to the ditch by Bailey Hongzhuang. He was thinking about how to make Bailey Hongzhuang unhappy, but he forgot to refine the black rock wood, which was the most important. Bailey Hongzhuang. Wei Hanyun bit his teeth. His refining was about to succeed, but even in such a situation, he failed. However, Bailey Hongzhuang acted as if nothing has been heard. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes quietly fell on Lu Qinyue's body. She had already judged that Wei Hanyun was a little faster than Lu Qinyue. If this continued, Wei Hanyun would complete refining black rock wood before Lu Qinyue. With the Wei Hanyun's level of refining the black rock wood, Bailey Hongzhuang was also a doubtful. Obviously, this Wei Hanyun's alchemy level was very high, even higher than Lu Qinyue. All the others have failed to refine black rock wood, but Wei Hanyun has persisted for so long. This showed the level that Wei Hanyun has achieved in alchemy, and his attitude toward Lu Qinyue obviously showed that his purpose was to defeat Lu Qinyue. This time, the Beihai College came prepared. It was for this reason that she did this in the middle of the contest. No matter what preparations Beihai College has made for today's alchemy contest, as long as she was there, she would not let the other party succeed. Gu Yaoi put all her hopes on Wei Hanyun. But she didn't expect Wei Hanyun to fail at this moment. Her tutor told her that Wei Hanyun's alchemy technique was very powerful. She only needed to cooperate with Wei Hanyun to take the first place in the alchemy contest. However, Wei Hanyun failed at this time, and the remaining time was not much. At the thought of this, Gu Yaoi could not help but panic, and her refining failed again. However, Wei Hanyun used this trick before the start of the contest. But he didn't expect Bailey Hongzhuang to be even more brilliant. She actually did it in the course of the contest. Humph. Sung Hongxi snorted. Previously Huan Chuyu never had such an attitude, but now he was embarrassing him. Jian Qingqiu looked at Huan Chuyu. This time, the Kanglan College was really acting different, and have completely changed their attitude. For today's alchemy contest, they have spent a lot of effort, not thinking that Bailey Hongzhuang to be such a variable, let them be caught off guard. Hongzhuang is too powerful. At the moment Wei Hanyun failed, Xia Jiqing couldn't help but applaud. Bailey Hongzhuang was really awesome. The conspiracy that the two colleges made may not be useful after Bailey Hongzhuang's move. Cui Haoyan chuckled. He was afraid that with Bailey Hongzhuang's move only incited Wei Hanyun's anger. Gong Shaoqing and others were full of joyful smiles. Wei Hanyun thought that he was really smart and clever. He deserved it. Wei Hanyun was still refining the black rock wood, and his eyes flashed with a gloomy light. He didn't believe that Bailey Hongzhuang was really refining the black rock wood. If it was true, he was afraid that the black rock in the pill furnace would have turned into nothingness. Now he finally understands. The Kanglan College sent Bailey Hongzhuang to participate to disturb them while refining. The refining technique of Bailey Hongzhuang itself was not very good, but she can disturb others. As long as Lu Qinyue can win the first place, it was enough. Thinking of this, Wei Hanyun glanced at Bailey Hongzhuang in a resentful manner. Since this is a trick of Bailey Hongzhuang, then he would never let the conspiracy of Bailey Hongzhuang succeed. Wei Hanyun slowly stepped back a few steps and slowly walked towards Gu Yaoi. However, when he passed by Lu Qinyue, he fell, inadvertently, and directly hit Lu Qinyue. The sudden arrival of the situation made Lu Yue look awkward and rushed to stabilize the situation in the Dan furnace. "I'm really sorry." Wei Hanyun patted his clothes and looked at Lu Qinyue with apology, then walked back to his position. On the other side, Qi Junnan and Yi Ruyu saw this scene and they were stunned. In fact, this was the last resort that they could think of. According to the instructor, no matter what method was used today, the Kanglan College must be defeated. It was only that they had no courage to make this brazen move. After all, everyone was in the dark about what they did. They did not expect that when they were still hesitating to do this, Wei Hanyun did not hesitate to do it. They didn't care about Bailey Hongzhuang, and Lu Qinyue was the real opponent. Even if they let Bailey Hongzhuang on the high platform until the last moment, she would not be able to do anything. Lu Qinyue was taking care of the black rockwood essence in pill, but this essence was too weak. Qi. The same subtle sound sounded, and the herbs in Lu Qinyue's pill furnace has turned into nothingness. Listening to this sound, Wei Hanyun's lips showed a smile, but when he looked at Gu Yaoi, his expression turned into one that of disgust. Feeling Wei Hanyun's gaze, Gu Yaoi's face was a bit ugly. Wei Hanyun wanted her to disturb Lu Qinyue when she failed before, but she never dared. She didn't think Wei Hanyun did it himself directly. As a result, her pressure reduced a lot. Waste. Wei Hanyun left cold sentence and began to refine the black rock wood again. Again standing in Bailey Hongzhuang's side, Wei Hanyun's eyes showed a smug expression, but it did not affect Bailey Hongzhuang. He wanted to look at Bailey Hongzhuang to disgust her. After the time has come, if Bailey Hongzhuang still has not refined, then she was really a huge joke. Bailey Hongzhuang, no matter what you do, the Kanglan College is now at the bottom. Bailey Hongzhuang's calm look did not change because of Wei Hanyun's words. Even so, your speed is not necessarily faster than Lu Qinyue. Lu Qinyue's face was quite ugly, but she quickly began to refine, and no matter how much she got in the second round, she should not be eliminated. Yi Ruyu's heart was filled with joy. He was the first person to fail. Unexpectedly, he has become the fastest one among all people. It's really a surprise for him. As for Bailey Hongzhuang, he has already ignored her. Because she wouldn't win. After paying attention to the expressions of Wei Hanyun and others, Bailey Hongzhuang was also helpless. Was she being shackled? Her black rock wood has to be refined, and these guys who made the whole conspiracy seem to completely ignore her existence. Wei Hanyun and others saw that Bailey Hongzhuang was still refining the black rock wood, and felt that it was very funny. They didn't expect Bailey Hongzhuang to be really ordinary. This group of idiots have neglected Bailey Hongzhuang, and after a while I'm afraid that they would hurt even their intestines in remorse. Although everyone felt that it was a pity that Lu Qiyu failed to refine, Xia Jiqing believed that Bailey Hongzhuang would win. All of them made a common mistake that many people would make, but Bailey Hongzhuang is really amazing. She would not fail. Zhang Yunfeng's eyes were full of wonder. He saw that other refining pharmacists failed only at a moment's distraction. Among all the alchemists present here, the most distracted one should be Bailey Hongzhuang, but Bailey Hongzhuang has not failed. When the words came out, Zhang Yunfeng and the others looked at each other. Could it be that Bailey Hongzhuang has really not started refining? The look of everyone has changed a bit. It seemed that it was not impossible. After Zhang Hongxi's glimpsed at Wei Hanyun's actions, there was a smile on his eyes. Not only Wei Hanyun, Yi Ruyu and others were also completely stunned. This smell. Wasn't it the smell of the black rockwood extract? What a joke. Was it really Bailey Hongzhuang who refined the black rockwood? She was so distracted, but she could still refine successfully. Was this a good way to tease them? However, it made them understand that they really ignored the most important of enemies. Bailey Hongzhuang directly put the essence of black rock wood into the container, and smiled as she looked at Wei Hanyun and others. In fact, because she has refined black rock wood many times, she was familiar with black rock wood. The short-term distraction has no effect on her at all, because she was familiar enough to know exactly when to pay attention to what. Lu Qinyue's face showed a faint smile. Everyone thought of her as an opponent, but they did not know that the alchemy of Bailey Hongzhuang was equally exquisite. The first place in this round of assessment went to the Kanglin College, and the alchemists of Lingyin College and Beihai College were afraid of getting eliminated. In comparison, her mood was very good. The previous move of Bailey Hongzhuang was to help her, but before the start of the contest, Master had already reminded her that it is very likely that the opponent would do anything and wanted her to be more careful. However, Wei Hanyun's move was unstoppable. Fortunately, everyone underestimated Bailey Hongzhuang, so Bailey Hongzhuang easily refined. Speaking of Bailey Hongzhuang, Lu Qinyue also felt somewhat emotional. She has never compared alchemy with Bailey Hongzhuang, but from the previous situation, she felt that the alchemy of Bailey Hongzhuang was most likely to be stronger than her. Because, in the process of this refining, she can never be distracted like Bailey Hongzhuang, so she could see the gap between them. When Bai Jingtian came to Lingyin College, he saw the scene where Bailey Hongzhuang finished, and the three could not help but look at each other. This situation was somewhat wrong. Bailey Hongzhuang is not a cultivator. Today Lingyin Academy is hosting an alchemy contest. What is Bailey Hongzhuang doing up there? Bai Jingtian was puzzled. They still thought about where to go to find Bailey Hongzhuang. But they didn't expect to see Bailey Hongzhuang on the high platform. In the eyes of Ji Yanma, there is also a puzzled light. I don't know, is this girl an alchemist? When Ji Yanma thought of this idea, he himself denied it directly. What a joke. Wasn't Bailey Hongzhuang clearly an inscriptionist? Since this girl is on the high platform, we will wait a little longer. I believe it won't take long for her to come down. After finding Bailey Hongzhuang, Qin Qingyi was relieved. As long as Bailey Hongzhuang did not leave the Qin Imperial City, he was very pleased. Chu Jiuyo checked the refining results of Bailey Hongzhuang and announced that Bailey Hongzhuang passed directly. On hearing this news, Yi Ruyu and other people's faces were ugly. They did not think that Bailey Hongzhuang has always been playing pig to eat tigers. From now onwards, they would no longer doubt Bailey Hongzhuang's strength. It was impossible to refine the black rock wood without a certain level. However, this Bailey Hongzhuang is too abnormal. As a cultivator, she could still learn alchemy to this point. It wasn't their first time to be the referee of this alchemy contest. They used to know the tricks of Lingyin College and Beihai College. They never thought that this time, in the alchemy contest, Bailey Hongzhuang would shock the other to defeat. This was a very rare scene. I think the character of this girl is good. The character of Lu girl is too soft. Although the alchemist should be easygoing, if the temper is too soft, it is easy to be bullied. Lin Hao shook his head. They had known Lu Qinyue for a long time. They were worried about her temper. I don't know what about this girl's rank in alchemy, but at a young age, she is already a practitioner of the innate realm. It is really amazing to have such an accomplishment in alchemy. Chu Jio smiled. Chen Yu smiled faintly. That's not easy. I will naturally know when I wait for this third round of assessment. When Bailey Hongzhuang completed refining, because they were too surprised, Yi Ruyu and Gu Yaoi failed again. When the two heard the sound from the pill furnace, the faces of the two were pale, and the time had passed, and they had failed again. They are likely to be eliminated because they can't finish in such little time. At the thought of this, the two were even more resentful about Bailey Hongzhuang. If not for Bailey Hongzhuang, they would not be distracted at this critical moment. When the two hated Bailey Hongzhuang was uninformed about this. She passed the round and she was resting. However, even if Bailey Hongzhuang knows the thoughts of Yi Ruyu, she would not care. It was their fault for getting distracted. Who are they blaming for their own fault? In the end, it's just that their self-control is not enough. At last, Wei Hanyun and Lu Qinyue completed the refining at the same time, Qi Junnan also completed, and Yi Ruyu and Gu Yaoi were eliminated because the time was up. The second round, Bailey Hongzhuang, Lu Qinyue, Wei Hanyun, Qi Junnan passed. Yi Ruyu, Gu Yaoi eliminated. Chen Yu immediately announced the final result. The people under the high platform also sighed after hearing the result. This time, the Kanglin College is really going to shine. In the first two rounds of this alchemy contest, the best results were from the Kanglin College students, which was amazing. Yi Ruyu and Gu Yaoi walked down the high platform, and both of them were unwilling. But so what if they were unwilling? It was useless. The level of the alchemists of the Kanglin College is really good. The performance of Lu Qinyue and Bailey Hongzhuang are very outstanding. This Bailey Hongzhuang is really magical. As a practitioner, I can still have such a level. I don't know if she can persist the third round. At least, this time, they will not be called as the laughing stock by the Lingyin College and Beihai College students. Bailey Hongzhuang, can you refine second-grade pills? Lu Qinyue was worried about Bailey Hongzhuang. The pill formula would be different with each alchemist. She has a teacher. And she had gotten many pill formulas from him. And since she wanted to refine the pills, Lu Qinyue was already prepared. She had already prepared all the herbs needed to refine the pills. As for Bailey Hongzhuang, although she was on a temporary mission, she had always prepared a lot of herbs, and she had all the herbs she needed. Wei Hanyun and Qi Junnan's situation naturally didn't need to be explained. Perhaps they already knew about this question, so naturally, there weren't too many herbs. Then, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others stood on the high platform. Everyone did not use the pill furnace that they normally used. Instead, they used the pill furnace that was prepared by the Spirit Concealment Academy. This was the fairest method. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others stood at the very front of the stage. Their every move was clearly seen by the crowd, and the crowd's voice was also a little quieter. Refining pills was more detailed than refining medicinal herbs. They tried not to affect the performance of the people on the stage. Jian Qingqiu looked at the students of the Spirit Concealment Academy who had a lot of self-control under the high platform. A gratified light appeared in his eyes, but when he saw this, he could not help but feel surprised. Jian Qingqiu took a closer look. After making sure that he didn't see anything, he stood up and quickly walked down the platform. When Huan Chuyu and the others saw Jian Qingqiu's actions, they were confused. They did not know what Jian Qingqiu was going to do. Elder Bai, Elder Ji, Elder Qin, I didn't expect you to come. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Jian Qingqiu had a happy smile on his face. Bai Jingtian and the other two inscriptionists had a high reputation and status in the imperial city. He had invited them to watch the exchange match, but he was rejected. However, he did not expect to see them here today. He felt very honored. The exchange meeting held by the Academy, not only the three masters of the Alchemist Guild, but also the three masters of the Inscription Guild, was it not a proof of the influence of the Academy in Qingshao country? Bai Jingtian smiled faintly. We just happened to have something to attend to. Bai Jingtian and the other two weren't interested in Jian Qingqiu. The things they wanted to do were the simplest. Jian Qingqiu was too utilitarian and wasn't like them. It was because of this that they had rejected Jian Qingqiu's invitation. However, they didn't expect that Bailey Hongzhuang had also participated in the exchange meeting. Hearing Bai Jingtian's answer, although Jian Qingqiu was a little surprised, he did not put it in his heart. No matter what reason Bai Jingtian and the other two came here for, as long as they came here, in the eyes of the others, this was enough face for him. Sure enough, when everyone saw Jian Qingqiu and Bai Jingtian standing together, their eyes shone with astonishment and surprise. After all, Bai Jingtian and the other two's status in the imperial city wasn't ordinary. Ordinary people couldn't even see them. Today's Spirit Concealment Academy is even more amazing. Not only did they invite the three master alchemists from the Alchemist Guild, they even invited the inscription master that ordinary people can't even invite. It's truly amazing. Spirit Concealment Academy is already #1 among the three academies, and their relationship with the royal family is so close, so there is no need to talk about their influence. I usually only heard of the three inscription masters, but this is my first time seeing them. The students of Spirit Concealment Academy were excited. For Spirit Concealment Academy to have such a status, they felt proud of themselves as students of Spirit Concealment Academy. Elder Bai, please take a seat first. Let's see how the students in the alchemy competition perform. Jian Qingqiu smiled. Bai Jingtian and the other two looked at each other and did not reject Jian Qingqiu's invitation. There was no other way. The person they were looking for was participating in the alchemy competition. They couldn't find Bailey Hongzhuang right now, they could only wait for the alchemy competition to end. Seeing that Bai Jingtian and the other two had agreed, the smile on Jian Qingqiu's face intensified. He immediately invited Bai Jingtian and the other two onto the stage. When Lin Yinghao saw Bai Jingtian and the other two, he revealed a look of joy. This was such a surprise. Seeing the arrival of Bai Jingtian and the other two, Chu Jiao and the other two also walked over. Although the Inscription Association and the Alchemist Association were not the same guild, they still had a certain degree of interaction. Perhaps because they were all focused on their own business, Chu Jiao and the others had a very good relationship with Bai Jingtian and the others. Elder Bai, why are you all here today? Chen Yu was a little surprised. They had told Bai Jingtian and the other two about this matter earlier, but it was clear that they weren't very interested in this matter. Logically speaking, the three of them should not have appeared here today. What was the reason for this? If this was to give Jian Qingqiu face, the three of them would never believe it. They couldn't be more clear about the personalities of Bai Jingtian and the other two. They had no meaning in front of all of them. Clearly, Jian Qingqiu was unable to invite them. Bai Jingtian smiled faintly, a few days ago, we discovered a genius inscriptionist. We only found out that she was in Spirit Concealment Academy after some inquiries, so we came. Hearing Bai Jingtian's words, Jian Qingqiu's eyes lit up. A genius inscriptionist had actually appeared in Spirit Concealment Academy. This was really a surprise. It was just that he didn't know which class this student belonged to. He didn't even know that he had such outstanding talent. It was really a mistake to not notice that. Even so, Jian Qingqiu's heart was filled with joy. As long as they were students of Spirit Concealment Academy, they would still be part of Spirit Concealment Academy in the future. The three masters, why don't I find that student after the alchemy competition ends? Jian Qingqiu asked with a smile. Bai Jingtian nodded. That's what we planned. When Huan Chuyu saw Bai Jingtian and the other two, his eyes were filled with emotion. He did not expect Spirit Concealment Academy's current status to be even better. Even the talented inscription master had appeared in Spirit Concealment Academy. Thinking of this, he couldn't help sighing. Not to mention inscriptions in the academy, there wasn't a single inscriptionist in city. This was the difference in reality. Song Hongxi's expression changed a little. Although he was in the alliance with Spirit Concealment Academy, he was also surprised to see that Spirit Concealment Academy had such an influence. He was afraid that the future Beihai College would have to obey Spirit Concealment Academy. He did not know if this situation would change in the future. Jian Qingqiu looked at Huan Chuyu proudly. When he saw Huan Chuyu's expression, the pride in his eyes grew stronger. Whether it was Kanglin College or Beihai College, they would not be a match for Spirit Concealment Academy. In the future, the Spirit Concealment College would definitely take the lead. However, Beihai College understood the direction of the wind and knew to join them. As for the ignorant Kanglin College, they would eventually disappear from the Saint Xian land. Xia Jiqing and the others looked at each other when they saw Bai Jingtian and the other two. They didn't expect the three inscription masters to be here. I didn't expect the inscription master to be interested in this alchemy competition. Bai Junyu slowly spoke. Xia Jiqing's eyes were filled with displeasure. You didn't see how proud the students of Spirit Concealment College were when they saw them. It seems that Spirit Concealment College is worthy of first place. Right now, she did not have a good impression of Spirit Concealment Academy. She only hoped that Spirit Concealment's results would be terrible. He did not expect the appearance of the three inscription masters to bring glory to the academy. He could not help but feel depressed. Lu Huayan's expression was also not very good. The more influential the Spirit Concealment Academy was, the more disadvantageous it was to the Kanglin College. However, the relocation of Spirit Concealment Academy to Qingshao Imperial City was a lot easier. At least the students would have access to the inscription. However, there was no inscription master in Azure Water City. The students had no chance to see it. Lin Hao sat down beside Bai Jingtian. Elder Bai, did you really find an inscription master's talent in the Spiritual Concealment Academy? Lin Hao was very surprised. An inscription master was even more rare than an alchemist. Although the threshold for alchemist was very high, the number of alchemists was much higher than an inscription master. Therefore, it was much easier for an alchemist then to find an inscription master. Even in the entire imperial city of Qingshao, there were only 3 inscription masters who could be masters. It was amazing that they could find inscription masters in the Spiritual Concealment Academy. Hearing Lin Hao's words, Bai Jingtian pondered for a moment. He also understood Lin Hao's personality. This guy wouldn't fight with him, right? Chapter 806 Alchemy Genius Inscriptionist. Hearing Chen Yiyu's words, Ji Yunma could not help but sigh in relief. It seemed that Bailey Hongzhuang's performance in pill refining wasn't the most outstanding. Other than Lu Qinyue. Ji Yunma continued to ask. Chen Yiyu's gaze fell on Bailey Hongzhuang and Wei Hanyun. According to the information he received, Wei Hanyun was already a Tier 2 alchemist. With Wei Hanyun's age, being able to become a Tier 2 alchemist was already outstanding. Compared to Lu Qinyue, his talent was only slightly weaker. As for Beili Hongzhuang, so far he hadn't received much information about her, but from her previous performance, he could tell that Beili Hongzhuang was an accomplished alchemist. However, he didn't know that Beili Hongzhuang was a top-tier alchemist, so he couldn't make a decision. Thinking about it, Chen Yu said, Wei Hanyun's alchemy skills are also outstanding, he is Lu Qinyue's enemy. I see. The smile on Ji Yunma's face widened. It seemed that Chen Yu and the others would not fight for Beili Hongzhuang. Qin Qingguo had a faint smile on his face. He did not need to ask, and Bai Jingtian and the other two could get the information they wanted to know. I think Beili Hongzhuang's level of pill refinement should also be very good, maybe she will have a stunning performance in the third round. Chu Jio's eyes fell on Beili Hongzhuang. When she first saw her, she didn't feel anything, but after seeing Beili Hongzhuang's performance in these two matches, she felt that Beili Hongzhuang was probably hiding something. With Beili Hongzhuang's age, she should be very nervous in such a situation, but Beili Hongzhuang's mental state was obviously not something that ordinary people could compare to. She wasn't nervous at all. She didn't even care. There were only two explanations for this performance. One was that Beili Hongzhuang's alchemy was very poor, so she was completely at the bottom of the list, so she didn't care at all. The other was that her alchemy was very strong, so she had enough confidence in herself. Chu Jio thought for a moment between the two, she felt that Beili Hongzhuang should be in the second situation. Perhaps another outstanding alchemist had appeared. As Chu Jio's voice fell, Bai Jingtian and the other two's expressions changed a little. They didn't want the Alchemist Association to look at Beili Hongzhuang. In my opinion, the two people that Elder Chen mentioned are better. Qin Qinggu said slowly. What a joke. It was a waste of time for the geniuses of inscription masters to come here and become alchemists instead of studying inscription techniques. Ji Yunma nodded in agreement. That's right, I think so too. Chu Jio's eyes fell on Ji Yunma. As a woman, she was more sensitive. These three old men knew nothing about alchemy, how could they know who was better? The three old men's performance today was really strange, but she couldn't figure out what was going on. Chu Jio didn't care if she didn't understand, but she would find out sooner or later. Lin Yinghao walked over to Bai Jingtian and the other two. He smiled and said, Elder Bai, Elder Ji, Elder Qin, since you're here, I'll introduce you to the other two principals. Chapter 807, Rank 2 Pill, Heaven Mending Pill. Lin Yinghao was a little complacent. It was rare for him to bring Bai Jingtian and the other two to Lingyin College, so he naturally had to introduce them. Using this opportunity, Lingyin College was able to prove to everyone just how strong they were. Hearing Lin Yinghao's words, Chu Jio and the others understood Lin Yinghao's thoughts. Speaking of which, the Lingyin College did indeed have very outstanding strength, but their show-off method made them speechless. The reason why they had come to participate in the alchemy competition was all because they wanted to understand the situation of the alchemists from the three academies. If they were only helping Lingyin College, they would not have any interest. However, after hearing Lin Yinghao's words, the eyes of Bai Jingtian and the others who were not interested in it all along lit up. According to the information they had obtained, Beili Hongzhuang was a cultivator of the Azure Water School. Up until now, they did not know the principal of Azure Water School. That's great. Bai Jingtian smiled. Seeing Bai Jingtian give him so much face, Lin Yinghao was somewhat flattered. It wasn't that he hadn't interacted with Bai Jingtian and the other two before, but with their arrogant personalities, even if he was the vice principal of Lingyin College, they couldn't care more. He didn't expect Bai Jingtian and the other two to be so easy to get along with at this year's Academy Exchange meeting. Principal Tsang, these three are our Qingshao nation's most famous inscriptionists, Bai Jingtian, Ji Yunma, and Qin Qingguo. After introducing the identities of Bai Jingtian and the others, Lin Yinghao turned to Bai Jingtian and the others and said, "This is the principal of North Sea Academy, Zhang Hongxi. I've heard of the three of you for a long time. I didn't expect to see you today." Zhang Hongxi's face didn't seem to be the slightest bit fake as he complimented. Bai Jingtian's group of three also revealed a smile. "The North Sea Academy is also well known. We really admire it." Zhang Hongxi originally wanted to say a few more words, but the expressions on Bai Jingtian and the other two were clearly not very interested. Seeing this, Zhang Hongxi wouldn't bring himself to be bored. Otherwise, if he provoked the other party's disgust, it would be bad. When Huan Chuyu saw Lin Yinghao walking towards him, a helpless expression appeared on his face. Although he knew that Lin Yinghao was here to show off, he had no choice. "This is Azure Water School's vice principal, Huan Chuyu." Lin Yinghao looked complacently at Huan Chuyu. He wanted to use this opportunity to let Azure Water School understand how big the gap between them and Lingyin College was. Jian Qingqiu also revealed a smile on her face. Even though yesterday's advancement to Spirit Concealment Academy had failed, in his eyes, Spirit Concealment Academy only needed Nangong Aochen alone. With Nangong Aochen's strength, no matter if it was Azure Water School or North Sea School, there was no student council that was his opponent. Huan Chuyu smiled. Although he didn't have any feelings for Lingyin College, he still admired the inscription master. Just as Huan Chuyu was about to speak, Bai Jingtian walked over to him with great enthusiasm, ignoring Lin Yinghao. "You're the vice principal of Azure Water School. I've heard a lot about you." Bai Jingtian smiled. "I've heard about Azure Water School's reputation before, but I've never seen it before. Your students are extremely outstanding." Thus, after thinking about it, Bailey Hongzhuang still decided to refine a rank 2 pill, the Heaven Mending Pill. Although the Heaven Mending Pill was a Tier 2 medicinal pill, the difficulty of refining it was only slightly lower than a Tier 3 medicinal pill. Its grade was much higher than an ordinary Tier 2 medicinal pill. Whether it was Lu Qinyue or Wei Hanyun, they were both second-rank alchemists. As for Qi Junnan, although she didn't know Qi Junnan's level of alchemy, she was certain that he was at most a second-rank alchemist. As such, she shouldn't be lacking in refining the Heaven Mending Pill. The Heaven Mending Pill could be said to be a great tonic for cultivators. It had a certain increase in strength and was only effective for those at the Red Realm. However, after consuming the Heaven Mending Pill, it would depend on the level of the cultivator. Chapter 809, How Could He Not Be Envied? Bailey Hongzhuang and the others' speed was very fast. After preparing the medicinal ingredients, they began to refine pills. With a thought, the flame of the pill furnace was ignited. After the cold air in the furnace dissipated and the temperature in the furnace stabilized, Bailey Hongzhuang placed the first medicinal ingredient into the furnace. Refining medicinal pills also tested one's temper. However, after refining the different medicinal ingredients into their essence, they were fused together. Hence, the complexity was much higher than refining medicinal ingredients. Time slowly passed. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others were also methodically refining medicinal pills. Other than the occasional sound of medicinal ingredients being refined, there was nothing else. When the onlookers saw Bailey Hongzhuang and the others concentrating on refining pills, they felt a bit more emotional. As expected, alchemists were not something that anyone could do. Just focusing on them for such a long time was already extremely tiring. Although no movement could be seen on the high platform, everyone did not find it boring. After all, the medicinal pills refined by alchemists were extremely important treasures to them. Every time she finished refining the essence of one medicinal ingredient, Bailey Hongzhuang would place another medicinal ingredient within it. Her indifferent expression was as if she was doing it with ease. Compared to Bailey Hongzhuang's ease, Qi Junnan and the others seemed to be a bit nervous. Seeing this scene, everyone felt a little surprised. Previously, everyone had thought that Bailey Hongzhuang was only half-baked. However, they never expected that Bailey Hongzhuang's score would be the highest. As long as Bailey Hongzhuang was able to perform well in the third round, then it was very likely that Bailey Hongzhuang would be first in the alchemy competition. At the thought of this, everyone felt a little crazy. The first place in the alchemy competition had not been taken away by an alchemist, but had instead been taken away by a cultivator. This was probably the most miraculous alchemy competition. Now that they saw Bailey Hongzhuang's alchemy appearance, they were certain that Bailey Hongzhuang's alchemy skills were extremely outstanding. A cultivator with such outstanding cultivation talent was actually an alchemist. They didn't know how Bailey Hongzhuang managed to develop both of them so well. Bailey Hongzhuang was truly too enviable. After all, in the process of cultivation, pill refinement was essential. Many cultivators suffered from not having any pills, yet Bailey Hongzhuang was able to be self-sufficient. How could she not be envied? I wonder what kind of medicinal pill Hongzhuang is refining this time around. I am rather curious. Xia Jiqing's eyes flickered with excitement. Every time Hongzhuang took out something, it was a good treasure. She didn't know what kind of pills she would refine this time. I believe that the pills refined by Hongzhuang and Qinyue will not be bad. Although the first two rounds of the competition were somewhat unexpected, the third round of the pill refinement was something that was common in every pill refinement competition. The vice principal should have made quite a bit of preparations for Qinyue as well. I think we'll probably win this year's alchemy competition. Zhang Yunfeng's face was filled with smiles. Given the current situation, the Azure Water School had the greatest chance of winning. Although the alchemy competition was no match for the cultivator competition, it would be good as long as they obtained first place. When Zhang Yunfeng and Xia Jiqing were talking, Gong Shaoqing's eyes fell on Bai Jingtian and the others. Chapter 8-10, Grade 2 Pill, Condensation Pill. According to Gong Shaoqing's observation, he discovered that Bai Jingtian and the other three inscription masters were very close to the vice principal. Moreover, these three inscription masters would occasionally look at Bailey Hongzhuang. When he saw this scene, he couldn't help but have a guess. Perhaps, these three grandmasters were here for Hongzhuang. After all, Bailey Hongzhuang's performance that day shocked the three grandmasters. After pondering for a moment, Gong Shaoqing didn't reveal his thoughts in the end. Because even if he said it, no one would believe it. Wei Hanyan's gaze shifted slightly, and a fierce light appeared in his eyes as he looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. He didn't even know that Bailey Hongzhuang had a good level of pill refinement. If it wasn't for Bailey Hongzhuang, he wouldn't have fallen to the ground in the second round. After all, he had come for the first place in the alchemy competition. Although there weren't many people participating in the alchemy competition, as long as he won the first place, his future path would be much smoother. And because of Bailey Hongzhuang's existence, he was actually ranked third. Yet, Bailey Hongzhuang was ranked first. It was simply intolerable. Wei Hanyan's gaze then landed on Bailey Hongzhuang's pill furnace. Regardless of what the results of the first two rounds were, he wanted Bailey Hongzhuang to fail in the third round. When Xiao He sensed Wei Hanyan's gaze, he knew that this fellow's thoughts weren't good. However, during the process of refining pills, it wasn't worried that Wei Hanyan would cause damage like the second round. Such trash was destined to be a stepping stone for their master. Under such circumstances, the third round of everyone's refinement of the medicinal pill was surprisingly smooth. None of them had any problems. Suddenly, a dense medicinal fragrance came from Lu Qinyue's pill furnace. When they smelled this medicinal fragrance, everyone felt their spirits rise and their spirits became much stronger. Clearly, this was a sign that the pill was about to take shape. Huan Chuyo's face revealed a smile. He had long since been prepared for the third round. He hadn't made it the hardest for Lu Qinyue to refine. Most importantly, Lu Qinyue's ability could only produce the highest level. Lu Qinyue, Bailey Hongzhuang, and Wei Hanyun's strengths were comparable. Only Qi Junnan was slightly weaker. Huan Chuyu could clearly see that Jian Qingqiu's plan was to allow the Northern Sea Academy to take first place in the alchemy competition and the Spirit Concealment Academy to take first place in the cultivators competition. As a result, both academies were extremely famous, and only the Azure Water School was at a disadvantage. However, Jian Qingqiu was able to obtain the first place in the alchemy competition today. The moment the medicinal fragrance of Lu Qinyue's pill furnace came out, the same came from Wei Hanyun's pill furnace. The two kinds of rich medicinal fragrance interweaved together, causing everyone to be intoxicated. The effect of the pill was naturally not something to say. Just the smell alone was also beneficial to cultivators. However, Huan Chuyou's expression couldn't help but change a bit when he smelled the familiar pill fragrance. His gaze towards Wei Hanyun also flashed with surprise. If his prediction was correct, Wei Hanyun had refined the jade condensation pill. The Jadify pill, a grade 2 medicinal pill, could help cultivators condense their spirit energy, allowing the spirit energy in their dantian to condense and store more spirit energy. This might seem to be of little use, but it was actually very helpful to cultivators. She had already finished refining the medicinal pill in the third round. However, her gaze shifted slightly. When she noticed Huan Chuyou's gloomy expression, her originally good mood changed a bit. She was very satisfied with her performance, but since her master had revealed such an expression, she was afraid. Wei Hanyun's pills were even more advanced. Thinking up to here, Lu Qinyue's face turned ugly as well. However, it was already too late to refine the pills again. Could it be, she was going to miss her victory just like that? Ding! Wei Hanyun also finished refining the pill. As the pill furnace opened, a dense medicinal fragrance spread out, and Lu Qinyue's expression changed a bit. She hadn't paid too much attention to the medicinal pill she had refined earlier, but now that she smelled it, she had already confirmed the answer. Her methodical appearance did not make anyone feel the slightest bit nervous. On the contrary, it was a kind of pleasant enjoyment. Xia Jiqing believed that Bailey Hongzhuang's confidence was there, otherwise she wouldn't be so calm. Everyone looked at Xia Jiqing. Although they didn't understand why Xia Jiqing trusted Bailey Hongzhuang so much, Bailey Hongzhuang was already their only hope. Ding! Another pill furnace opened. Qi Junnan successfully finished refining the pill. With a smile on her face, she took the pill out of the furnace and placed it into a white porcelain bottle. However, the three of them had already finished refining the pill. Bailey Hongzhuang was the only one left. Her pill furnace hadn't even emitted any medicinal fragrance. The Azure Water School's people couldn't help but feel a bit anxious. Time passed by. There wasn't much time left until the end of the third round. Bailey Hongzhuang has yet to be refined. Will she directly fail? However, let's wait until the end of this alchemy competition to find the cause. It is not appropriate to leave the table now. As Jian Qingqiu's voice fell, Huan Chuyou's face became even more ugly. Jian Qingqiu's meaning was very clear. He will find out who did it, but only after the alchemy competition is over, when the outcome has already been decided. By then, even if Jian Qingqiu casually prevaricated behind the scenes, what would be the point? Everyone focuses on the final result. No one would care much about this conspiracy. This is equivalent to making Kanglan Academy suffer a loss in silence. However, what Jian Qingqiu said also irrefutable. Because they found out too late, it was impossible to repeat the alchemy competition. Kanglin Academy has produced another genius pill refiner this time, and the extent of the surprise is the most they have seen in years. Huan Chuyu was also surprised at the sudden good news. Bailey Hongzhuang's performance could only be described as perfect. The three, including Bai Jingtian, looked at each other. They didn't expect this girl to be so accomplished in alchemy that even they had to marvel at it. Jian Qingqiu, Lin Yinghao, and Sang Hongxi were the ones with the most ugly faces. It took them so much effort, yet they achieved this result. Bailey Hongzhuang actually solved this predicament. Doesn't it mean that everything they did before was meaningless? Chapter 821, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor Unscrupulous Consort really did it. Although they did not view Wei Hanyun's behavior positively, they had to recognize Wei Hanyun's accomplishments in alchemy. Among the second-rank pills, the refinement of the jade condensing pill is already extremely difficult, which means that as long as Wei Hanyun continues to work, Wei Hanyun is not far from breaking through to become a third-rank alchemist. When everyone under the high platform stage heard about these pills, their eyes reflected doubt. They were all second-rank pills, so they didn't know how to compare them for the results. Fortunately, there were some alchemists from Lingyin Academy in the audience, and they immediately explained the difference between the three pills. Everyone's eyes stayed on Wei Hanyun. Currently, Wei Hanyun's performance is the best. Who cares about the jade condensing pill? The pill made by Hongzhuang will be the best, Xia Jiqing said firmly. She believed that Hongzhuang would definitely defeat Wei Hanyun, this despicable villain. Seeing Xia Jiqing's blind worship, Zhang Yunfeng smiled helplessly, but her eyebrows reflected a little worry. If Hongzhuang's pill furnace hadn't exploded, then it would be okay to say this. I'm just worried that the explosion of her pill furnace will have an impact on the pill. As Zhang Yunfeng's voice fell, Gong Shaoqing and others' mood fell a bit heavier. They had also thought of this problem, but they still had a glimmer of hope in their hearts. Wei Hanyun sneered at Bailey Hongzhuang. He didn't believe that Bailey Hongzhuang could finish refining the pill if the furnace exploded. He was not intimidated. Bailey Hongzhuang's words could not affect him at all. This Wei Hanyun is really an idiot. Xiao He was looking at Wei Hanyun as if he was seeing an idiot. He had seen self-delusion, but he had never seen such blind self-delusion. He thinks that everyone is like him when he can't do it himself, but he won't be able to continue lying to himself in a little while. Xiao Bai raised his eyebrows, waiting for when this guy would fall into complete despair. Chu Jiao and the other judges stood in front of Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang's performance was too surprising. It's hard to judge. While Bailey Hongzhuang's talent in alchemy has won their approval, they are also worried, will the pills saved by Bailey Hongzhuang in this situation be ruined? As alchemists they understand what happens in an explosion. Although what Bailey Hongzhuang did is theoretically feasible, it is very difficult to actually do it. Huan Chuyo's hands gradually folded. All this depends on Bailey Hongzhuang. Compared to everyone's nervousness, Bailey Hongzhuang was very indifferent. With a small smile on the corners of her lips, she handed the white porcelain bottle to Chu Jiao. Chapter 822, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor Unscrupulous Consort Kanglin Academy, win. As Chu Jiao's voice fell, the eyes of everyone present reflected shock. Xia Jiqing gave Bai Junyu a high five, her delicate face full of excitement. I knew Hongzhuang would be able to do it. At this moment even Gong Shaoqing's unchanging iceberg face showed a smile too. Bailey Hongzhuang had created a miracle. Lu Huaiyan clenched his hands tightly, his eyes shining brightly. Bailey Hongzhuang is really fighting for Kanglin Academy. Huan Chuyu slammed his fist on the table. He has not been so excited for many years. Bailey Hongzhuang is really amazing. Lu Qinyue also had a shocked expression on her face. She was no stranger to the heaven-mending pill. She had heard Master mention it before, but Master did not have a recipe for the heaven-mending pill. Unexpectedly, Bailey Hongzhuang not only has the pill recipe, but also refined it. The Xianyuan pill she refined was only a middle-level second-rank pill, and Bailey Hongzhuang's was close to a third-rank pill. All along, she thought that Bailey Hongzhuang's talent was similar to hers, but now it seems that Bailey Hongzhuang's talent is much better than hers. Both her age and alchemy is better than her, and this gap is almost impossible to bridge. However, the most important thing is that the difficulty of the heaven-mending pill is higher than that of the jade-condensing pill. This means that they won the alchemy competition. Kanglin Academy has won. Kanglin Academy, which had failed twice in a row, won. A smile appeared on Lu Qinyue's face. She was happy for the school's achievements, but her heart still felt a trace of loss. Impossible. Wei Hanyun's face changed suddenly. It's impossible. Under such circumstances, it is impossible for Bailey Hongzhuang to protect the integrity of the pill. You must be mistaken. He absolutely could not accept this result. Hearing Wei Hanyun's words, Lin Hao's face took on a hint of coldness and said in a cold voice, "Are you questioning our judgment?" Even if he didn't believe it, he couldn't question the three alchemy masters. In this alchemy competition, the first place goes to Kanglin Academy's Bailey Hongzhuang. Cui Haoyan and others shouted with happy smiles on their faces. Kanglin Academy won. Jian Qingqiu and Sung Hongshi's faces were really ugly. They had been working out a foolproof strategy for so long, but they lost. Huan Chuyu glanced at Jian Qingqiu and Sung Hongshi with a bright smile and said, "Principal Jian, I hope you can find out who is behind this." Hearing this, Jian Qingqiu glanced at Huan Chuyu gloomily, and for the sake of face, he could only say, "Don't worry, I will definitely find this person. Then I will be relieved." Huan Chuyu chuckled and walked towards Bailey Hongzhuang. Chapter 823, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort News, Mo Yunjue. Feeling Wei Hanyun's resentful glare, Bailey Hongzhuang shifted her gaze. She always felt that there was something fishy about this Wei Hanyun's appearance. Previously they had never heard that Beihai Academy had a top person like this, but he suddenly appeared today and was so well prepared. There was something fishy about him. However, so far she had not yet found any evidence. Fortunately, everything was not destroyed by Wei Hanyun's appearance. At that moment, Mo Yunjue also came to Bailey Hongzhuang and said with a smile, "Hongzhuang, congratulations." Seeing Mo Yunjue appear, Xia Jiqing's voice rang out before Bailey Hongshu could reply. "Young Master Mo, you're too late. You didn't see how impressive Hongzhuang's performance was." Xia Jiqing's face was filled with regret. She sighed with admiration. The scenes in the alchemy competition just now were absolutely wonderful. Hearing this, Mo Yunjue smiled faintly with a little regret in his expression. "I had some things to do, so I only could come here now, but I am also very happy to know the result." The next moment, Mo Yunjue handed a note to Bailey Hongzhuang, and said with a faint smile, "I think you might need this." Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Mo Yunjue's determined, handsome face, and a look of surprise appeared in her eyes. However, when Bailey Hongzhuang saw what was written in the note, her expression changed. "Thank you. Many thanks." Bailey Hongzhuang raised the note in her hand with a delighted smile on her face. Mo Yunjue's smile is still the same, his eyes still bottomless, deep black holes, but the smile on his handsome face was very charming. "Everyone, please don't leave yet, I have something to say." Bailey Hongzhuang suddenly raised her voice, and everyone's eyes fell on Bailey Hongzhuang wondering what she was doing. Xia Jiqing and the others were puzzled. They didn't know what was written on the note that Mo Yunjue handed to Bailey Hongzhuang. The alchemy competition was over. What else did Hongzhuang have to announce? The eyes of Huan Chuyu and others also fell on Bailey Hongzhuang, but compared to the surprise of the others, Huan Chuyu seemed very indifferent. Since Bailey Hongzhuang came to study at Kanglin Academy, she has never done anything out of line. He believed that Bailey Hongzhuang must have her reasons for doing this now. Bailey Hongzhuang spared a glance for Wei Hanyun, who couldn't help but be stunned, his heart faintly filled with a bad premonition. It's just that he has hidden everything very well and doesn't believe that Bailey Hongzhuang can find out exactly what happened. Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongxi also looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with evil eyes. They felt that this girl was too outstanding. Whether it is in the cultivator competition or the alchemy competition, Bailey Hongzhuang's performance is too outstanding, which is not a good thing for them. At this moment, Bailey Hongzhuang suddenly stopped everyone. Could it be that she is being arrogant? Bailey Hongzhuang walked directly in front of Huan Chuyu and handed the note to him. She believed that Huan Chuyu would resolve this matter well. When Huan Chuyu saw the content on the note, his expression changed slightly, anger and dissatisfaction flashed, and when he looked at Jian Qingqiu and the two of them again, his face grew a little colder. Vice President Song, according to the information we received, Wei Hanyun doesn't seem to be a student of Beihai Academy. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.